Now it is time for the one thing you should know. We've got a special guest with us this morning. Liz Claman is joining us now because she's going to preview her Warren Buffett special, which is just going to be on this evening. But tell us a little bit about it.
Okay, first of all, imagine, Alexis, if you were the top high school basketball recruit in the nation and you got to spend the entire day with, say, for example, Michael Jordan. Amazing. On the court playing one-on-one.
Sick experience.
The best of the best. Well, business school students from all across the nation get to actually hang out with Warren Buffett for a day. He's been doing this for 12 years. He clears his calendar 8 days out of the year and hosts some 48 business school students. We picked a day when Berkeley was there, the Cornhuskers from University of Nebraska, as well as Michigan, a bunch of other schools, and we watched these students arrive so excited to be sitting in a class taught by the master himself. He gives them his whole day. They get a question and answer session, and you just can't imagine exactly what happens, but they get to ask him any question they want, and the number one question many of them wanted to know was whether he would be playing some type of role with the next president. Here's what he had to say. Listen in.
We've heard your name quite a bit with regard to the election, and we were wondering what your ideal position would be as part of the Obama administration, and have you already been tapped for that role?
Yeah, well, my ideal position in the Obama administration is to be CEO of Berkshire. Fox Business News is recording this, and Liz Claman asked me yesterday, whether I'd been called. And if I got called, and I didn't get called, let's make that very clear. Nobody's asked me. So, but if I got called to take a position, I think I would have said, why don't you call Jimmy Buffett? I've got the job I want in life, and if I can be helpful on anything, I know I can get my ideas in front of somebody. So there's absolutely no reason to change the perfect life that I've got for something that I wouldn't really enjoy at all. But I admire the people that do it. I mean, I really do. It's people make a lot of fun of public servants sometimes, but if you take Hank Paulson at the Treasury, he doesn't need that in life. I mean, he is, he has to listen to 535 members of Congress each tell him what he's doing wrong. He has to spend innumerable amounts explaining himself, all of it, and he's got tough decisions coming at him. I've got easy decisions coming at me.
You also have to know that these students asked him, how do you invest? How do you pick a company to buy? Which stocks do you look at? And how do you go through that process? So the viewer will actually get an exclusive look at how he makes his decisions. And he's arguably the greatest investor of all time, Alexis. And this is the first time he's ever let television cameras in. Fox Business is doing this.
That is fantastic. I know you're going to run the special this evening. It's going to be at 7 and 10 p.m. The interesting thing, though, is, Liz, is when you interviewed him last week, too, you asked him some tough questions about the investments that he's made in GE and Goldman Sachs. They haven't quite lived up to the expectations, but he still's a buyer here.
Yeah, he absolutely is. He loves times like this where everybody is running scared. You can't even believe it, and he's not scared at all. I mean, you see how relaxed a person he is. In fact, he actually, Alexis, then after the question and answer session where he allows them to ask anything, takes the kids to lunch at his favorite place. Remember, this is the richest man on the planet. He loves this place called Piccolo's. He sits around with them. He has steaks and French fries, and then he gets the root beer float. He's like a kid. Look how happy
Man
he is.
of my own heart.
Look at this. He gets all excited when he gets his root beer float. And all the kids get this, but they get to sit around and ask him anything they want. And he says, nothing is off the table. You will be very amazed at the answers he gives to certain questions. One of them tonight, you'll see, is when they say, are business schools teaching the right thing?
Ooh.
And wait till you hear his answer.
Yeah, I mean, particularly, guys, given some of the statistics that we saw yesterday, about 49 out of the 50 states right now, college affordability is just out of the realm. I was reading it. I think inflation prices right now have risen at 400% for the cost of education, as opposed to 150% on median household income. Can you believe that?
They go up every year. But I got to tell you,
yeah,
I think it's just not kids. I mean, I think, if from anyone from like 18 to 80 probably should be watching this, because, Liz, one of the things that I notice, and even with my own business, it's so hard to be a long-term investor these days. It's so hard to live through the pain and agony. If you're a professional telling an individual, hold on, they take their money. Look how many funds this year are down like just 20%, and people are redeeming. So just to listen to that philosophy of a guy who's done it more than once, and to your point,
Remember,
investor.
this is the man, Alexis, who never dipped a toe into the internet froth. And a lot of people criticized him. They said, you're missing out. He turned out looking like a genius because he didn't go into those things.
Yeah.
Then when people thought, oh, railroads are dead, he was putting money into railroads because of the high price of gasoline. It was much cheaper to move things by rail. You listen to a man like this, and he knows he's made mistakes. He talks specifically about some of the mistakes he's made.
And the stock price is reflecting it.
Yeah, Berkshire Hathaway has dropped more than 40% at certain points, but, you know, it was around $70,000 a share recently, but now it's up above $100,000, $70,000 because he's never split the stock. He doesn't play those Wall Street games. And he said, you know what, here's why I don't go on Wall Street, because by noon, I've heard 19 different ideas whispered in my ear. None of them pans out. Exactly. Right? He wants to sit in Omaha, and he's become the richest man on the planet for doing so.
I am so excited. All right, everybody has to tune in this evening. Liz, this is fantastic. Of course, as you can see, there it is, Buffett U. Exclusive, 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss it. It's going to be fantastic. Liz,
get a free class, master class.
There you go. I love it. All right, guys, stay with us. The opening bell is coming up next.